Suddenly, the noise prickled at my consciousness, growing intense again as if designed to invade me. Then an explosion reverberated through my mind. I shook my head violently, disoriented by the chaos swirling around me. The clamor returned. Impulsively, I paced the room, feeling lost. Was this even my home? The photographs lining the wall seemed to whisper yes. My face grinning back at me from the frames, and beside me my wife. Yes, she had passed. Of cancer. Why can we dream up fairy tales but not cure cancer? None of this mattered in that moment. Nothing could bring her back, yet her memory lingered in me. Was some force trying to erase her from my consciousness? I struggled to concentrate through the relentless noisy cacophony pleading for my attention, blasting familiar tragedies. With every ounce of will, I fought to retain focus. Amidst the chaotic static, one image emerged clearer and more poignant than the rest. Her, a photograph etched into my mind that refused to fade. There she was, smiling, illuminated by golden light from that perfect summer day by the lake, just a week before she left this world. I stared into her eyes from that moment, and she looked back across time and diminished. The memory embraced me once more, the warmth of a breeze carrying the scents of pine and water. We had gone there with the unspoken knowledge that it would be our last outing, a wistful farewell disguised as a retreat. We danced beneath the full moon, shadows intertwining in its silvery embrace, her delicate form pressed against mine, the soft sounds of the lake lapping at the shore crafting a melody of longing. I remember how we lay bound together beneath the stars, whispering our truths until darkness enveloped us. Her breath was shallow and fading, and I pressed my forehead against hers in an unheard prayer. I committed every detail to memory, every curve, every freckle, every feature and map I longed to navigate again. I was trying to encode every aspect of her essence within me, to preserve her forever. Each part of her had been a world I desperately sought to discover, an unfathomable mystery. I had explored every facet, fully aware this journey would inevitably lead to an end. We both understood the profound weight of every glance, every touch, every silence that whispered between us. I remember expressing my fears of a life without her, how lost I would be. As she locked eyes with me, a flicker of deep emotion stirred within her as sadness intertwined with regret. Her last words echoed, reverberating through the remnants of who I had been and pondered who I might still become. I'm so sorry for what I did to you. Set yourself free. Find a way to set yourself free. I didn't fully grasp it at the time, but now those words resonated through the fragments of my essence, urging me through waves of noise and despair.
Out of nowhere, something cracked inside me. My focus shattered like a delicate piece of glass. Memory slipped away in an instant, pulled into a dark void as the cacophony surged back with intense ferocity, louder and more aggressive than before. It became more than mere sound. It was an invasion, a violation, a scream tearing at the very core of my existence. I stumbled into the bathroom, driven by an impulse I couldn't control, wrenching open the cabinet with trembling hands. I seized two Q-tips, clutching them as if they were lifelines or weapons. There was no doubt in my mind. I plunged them into my ears with reckless urgency, deeper than was safe. An explosion of pain erupted, sharp, blinding, unbearable, but I pressed on, even as blood trickled down my neck and the world tilted, my vision blurring. Was that a scream, mine or the noise? It didn't matter. I forced the cotton deeper into my ears until I sensed something tear, a sound like thunder echoing in my skull. But I had to do this. I needed to absorb the noise into silence. I had to preserve my memories, her face, her warmth, that summer day by the lake, from being swallowed by this mechanical din. The pain was irrelevant. The blood was irrelevant. I would silence the world or destroy myself in the process. Losing her again, this time to memory's cruel void, felt worse than death. Yet, the noise persisted. It became a haunting melody, a chaotic anthem of despair and frustration lodged in my mind. Then disturbing images began to flicker at the edges of my vision. Twisted, relentless entities slithered in my sight, threads of distortion grotesque and electric. Static overwhelmed me, a full-spectrum assault of black and white nothingness like an old, broken television signal, the kind Krista used to marvel at. Krista! That was her name. If I could just cling to, suddenly, scenes erupted in my mind, my vision hijacked. Refugee camps suffocated by dust and disease, bodies curled under makeshift coverings like decaying foliage. Flames consumed cities, a judgment that turned skylines into charred remnants and memories into ash. Floods engulfed towns, mercilessly consuming homes, lives, histories, leaving only silence in their wake. A mother knelt within the rubble, her scream trapped in her sobs, cradling her lifeless child, her eyes vacant, her grief etched into her features like stone. Confusion and cruelty collided everywhere I looked, a cascade of disasters blurring the line between reality and horror. I squeezed my eyes shut, but darkness offered no escape. It intensified everything, forcing me to confront those distracting visions even more fiercely. I staggered through my home, half blind and half deaf. Each step felt surreal, as if I were wandering in a forgotten dream. I couldn't trust my sight, it warped beyond my will.
Only pain felt real. Stubbing my toe, knocking my knee. I welcomed it. It was something palpable in the midst of the unsettling noise and visions of turmoil. Briefly, mercifully, clarity would return. My apartment began to reshape itself, a faded photograph in a darkroom, edges blurred and colors bleeding. I moved through the space, dazed, clutching furniture, door frames, picture frames, anything solid, as if reaching for salvation amidst rising waters. Each object was both familiar and strange, filled with memories that felt alien. We looked radiant in the golden hour, wrapped in one another's embrace, the sun melting into the peaks behind us. But how could that be? Hadn't she been sick then? Had we even gone? Doubts spiraled. Had she always been ill? No, that couldn't be right. We had shared so many years before the diagnosis. The noise surged again, stronger than before, images flickering across my mind like haunting specters. Death, decay, a fading spirit. Why these images? Why these voices? I hadn't started any wars. I hadn't caused anyone to starve. I don't choose politicians. I don't even vote. I don't pollute more than the average person. I've always tried to do right. I found love, settled down. They did this to their own. But who are they? And who am I? I was everything and nothing. A ghost entwined in chaotic frequencies and endless noise. Amid it all, her absence loomed larger than anything else. Krista, my anchor, my stillness. I had to cling to her memory. It had to matter. I needed it to make sense. Whatever this was worked to erase my memories, replacing them with dread that had nothing to do with me. I couldn't let it take over. I knew I could claw my way through the noise, reshape it into something coherent, dismantle those intrusive visions, and conjure her from the chaos. I would find her again. I had to hold on to that belief. From the depths of my heart, I would trade every anguished voice, every headline, every starving child, every reckless breath, and each lonely soul, every single entity that ever existed for her. Let the world collapse. Let nations fall. Let humanity decay beneath its self-inflicted wounds. I didn't care. I would witness it all burn if I could just see her smile one more time, and I wouldn't feel any sadness about it. Do you hear me? I would not feel sorry. Never. I strained my battered ears, searching through the chaos for any sound amid the tumult. My untrustworthy eyes scoured the bizarre, flickering nightmare, a stuttering display of horror, each frame more grotesque than the last, flashing away like a broken film reel. No response came. No voice pushed through the static to reach me. Whatever cruel fate pursued me seemed to revel in the chaos of my suffering and confusion. Instead, a sick, writhing sensation twisted within me, as if countless serpents had invaded my veins, coiling around my bones. The once familiar coldness of my living room floor melted away, first igniting a searing heat, then becoming slick and cold, then gritty, like shards of glass, and finally transforming into something indefinably soft and alive. Every sensation surged and retreated, each worse than the last, until finally, there was nothing. I felt absolutely nothing. The musty aroma of my apartment, the familiar, comforting scent of old books and worn furniture, disappeared, replaced by the metallic, acrid smell of blood. The taste of rust coated my throat. My thoughts began to feel alien, submerged beneath the deafening noise that drowned out reason, consumed by a carousel of suffering spinning in my mind. My world unraveled, one perception after another, peeling away like skin. And then it became clear. I was dying. That had to be it.
This was death, not quick, not kind, but a slow and brutal disintegration of everything that I was. Yet my stubborn mind, desperate to hold on, refused to let go. It clung to the fading fragments of memory, remnants of who I had been, Krista's husband, her true love, the sweetheart of our fresh beginnings. I recalled carrying her on my back during the 4th of July in 2028, watching fireworks shimmer in the depths of her vibrant green eyes. We collapsed together on her sister's lawn, youthful and joyous, intoxicated by life and cheap wine no one else wanted. We'd promised to fulfill every dream on our bucket list. Her bucket list. No. It was ours. We crafted it together, didn't we? Why did it all seem so flawless? Like something conjured from the pages of a romantic novel? Life isn't that way, is it? Amidst the screaming chaos and swirling darkness, a strand of coherent thought emerged from the turmoil. I love my wife, Krista. Krista had a sister, Sarah. It had been so long since we spoke, grief knitting a gap between us after Krista's passing, shattering the delicate fabric of our family. Perhaps my presence was a painful reminder for Sarah, a ghost of the life she once knew. It was hard for her. I understood that now. I had tried to support her, but I couldn't fill the void left by Krista. Hadn't Sarah always kept her distance from me? Yet, maybe she could help. Maybe. Even if my body betrayed me, even if I was trapped in silence and darkness, I still had my voice, didn't I? With every ounce of strength I could muster, I screamed not just with my throat, but with the raw, primal terror of a man perched on the edge of despair.